Today, let's explore together how to approach social anxiety using evidence-based methods that can help transform your relationship with social situations. If you've ever felt your heart racing before entering a crowded room, or found yourself avoiding social gatherings because the fear feels overwhelming, please know that you're not alone in this experience, and there are scientifically supported ways to work with these feelings. I chose this topic because social anxiety affects millions of people worldwide, yet many feel isolated in their struggle. Recent research has provided us with powerful insights into how our brains process social fear and, more importantly, how we can work with our nervous system to create positive changes. Let me share what current research tells us about social anxiety and the evidence-based methods that have shown genuine promise in helping people feel more comfortable in social situations. Recent meta-analytic research conducted by multiple research institutions has provided compelling evidence about the effectiveness of various treatments for social anxiety. A comprehensive analysis examining different cognitive behavioral therapy formats found that individual CBT produces large treatment effects, with effect sizes indicating significant improvement for the majority of participants. This research compared thousands of cases across multiple studies, giving us confidence in these findings. What's particularly encouraging is that research institutions have discovered that remotely delivered CBT shows comparable effectiveness to traditional in-person therapy. This means that effective support is becoming more accessible to people who might not be able to attend regular office visits, removing barriers that previously prevented many from getting help. Neuroscience research has revealed fascinating insights about what happens in our brains during social anxiety. Studies using advanced brain imaging have found that people experiencing social anxiety show specific patterns of activity in the prefrontal cortex and amygdala regions. The prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for executive functioning and decision-making, often shows different activation patterns compared to control groups. Understanding this helps us recognize that social anxiety involves real neurological processes, not just psychological weakness. A particularly hopeful finding comes from research on neuroplasticity. Studies have demonstrated that the brain's ability to form new neural pathways means that consistent practice of specific techniques can literally rewire our responses to social situations. This research shows that change is not only possible but measurable through brain imaging studies. Virtual reality research has opened exciting new possibilities for treatment. Multiple studies have found that virtual reality exposure therapy produces clinically significant improvements with effect sizes ranging from 0.80 to 1.53 when compared to control groups. What this means is that people can practice social situations in a safe, controlled environment, allowing their nervous system to gradually adapt without the overwhelming intensity of real-world exposure. Machine learning research conducted at multiple universities has helped identify specific factors that predict treatment success. This research suggests that personalized approaches, taking into account individual differences in brain functioning and personal history, can significantly improve outcomes. This represents a move toward more individualized care rather than one-size-fits-all approaches. Research on digital interventions has shown remarkable promise. Studies indicate that technology-assisted therapy can increase access to care while maintaining effectiveness. This is particularly important because traditional barriers like transportation, scheduling, and cost have prevented many people from receiving support for social anxiety. Now let's explore practical methods that research has shown to be effective for working with social anxiety. It's important to note that these methods work by gradually training your nervous system to respond differently to social situations, taking advantage of your brain's natural ability to create new patterns. The progressive exposure technique is one of the most well-researched approaches. This method works by creating a hierarchy of social situations from least to most anxiety-provoking, then gradually working through them at your own pace. The key is to start with situations that feel manageable rather than jumping into your most feared scenarios. For example, you might begin by making brief eye contact with a cashier, then progress to asking a simple question at a store, then having a short conversation with a neighbor. Research shows this gradual approach allows your nervous system to adapt naturally without becoming overwhelmed. The neurological mechanism behind this involves the process of habituation, where repeated exposure to a feared situation gradually reduces the amygdala's alarm response while strengthening prefrontal cortex regulation. Cognitive restructuring is another evidence-based technique that involves examining and challenging the thought patterns that contribute to social anxiety. This method works by helping you identify specific anxious thoughts before social situations, then systematically examining the evidence for and against these thoughts. Research has found this approach effective because it engages the prefrontal cortex in analytical thinking, which can help regulate the emotional centers of the brain. For example, if you notice yourself thinking, Everyone will notice if I say something wrong. You might examine this thought by asking, what evidence do I have that people are paying such close attention to my words? And, even if someone did notice a mistake, what would realistically happen? Studies show this type of systematic questioning helps create more balanced, realistic thinking patterns over time. Breathing regulation techniques have strong research support because they directly influence your autonomic nervous system. The technique involves specific breathing patterns that activate your parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for the body's rest and digest response. Research shows that breathing in for 4 counts, holding for 4 counts, and exhaling for 6 counts can measurably reduce stress hormones within minutes. The longer exhale is particularly important because it stimulates the vagus nerve, which sends signals to your brain that you're safe. Practicing this technique regularly, not just during anxious moments, helps train your nervous system to access calm states more easily. Mindfulness-based approaches have significant research support for social anxiety. Studies show that regular mindfulness practice literally changes brain structure, increasing the thickness of the prefrontal cortex while reducing amygdala reactivity. The practice involves focusing on present moment awareness rather than future social catastrophes. Research indicates that even 10 minutes of daily mindfulness practice can produce measurable changes in brain function within 8 weeks. The mechanism works by strengthening your ability to observe anxious thoughts and feelings without becoming overwhelmed by them, creating space between stimulus and response. Social skills practice in low-stakes environments provides a safe way to build confidence gradually. Research shows that breaking social skills into small components and practicing each one separately is more effective than trying to improve everything at once. This might involve practicing making small talk with low-pressure interactions like greeting a neighbor or thanking a service worker. Studies indicate that these micro-practices help build neural pathways associated with successful social interaction, creating positive feedback loops that increase confidence over time. Physiological self-regulation techniques help you work directly with your body's stress response. Research shows that techniques like progressive muscle relaxation and grounding exercises can help you manage the physical symptoms of social anxiety. The 4-7-8 breathing technique, where you inhale for 4 counts, hold for 7, and exhale for 8, has been shown to rapidly shift the nervous system from fight or flight to rest and digest mode. These techniques work by giving you concrete tools to influence your physiological state, which in turn affects your emotional experience. To summarize what we've discussed today, here are the key points to remember. First, social anxiety involves real neurological processes in the brain, particularly in the prefrontal cortex and amygdala regions, which means your experience is valid and based in biology, not personal weakness. Second, research shows that gradual exposure to social situations allows your nervous system to adapt naturally through the process of habituation, building confidence step by step. Third, cognitive restructuring techniques help engage your prefrontal cortex to examine and challenge anxious thoughts, creating more balanced thinking patterns over time. Fourth, breathing regulation techniques can rapidly influence your autonomic nervous system, providing immediate tools for managing anxiety symptoms through parasympathetic activation. Fifth, regular mindfulness practice creates measurable changes in brain structure and function, strengthening your ability to observe difficult emotions without being overwhelmed. Sixth, practicing social skills in low-stakes environments helps build neural pathways associated with successful interaction, creating positive feedback loops that increase confidence naturally. Remember that working with social anxiety is a gradual process that honors your nervous system's need for safety while gently expanding your comfort zone. Research consistently shows that sustainable change happens through consistent, gentle practice rather than forcing yourself into overwhelming situations. Your brain's remarkable capacity for neuroplasticity means that every small step you take is creating positive changes, even when you can't feel them immediately. The evidence gives us genuine reason for hope. Thousands of people have found relief from social anxiety using these research-backed methods, and your brain has the same capacity for positive change. Be patient and compassionate with yourself as you explore these techniques, knowing that healing happens at your own pace. If today's discussion provided any support or new insights, please hit the like button to let me know. If you'd like to continue learning about mental health together, please subscribe to this channel. I'm committed to sharing evidence-based approaches that honor your well-being and support your journey toward feeling more comfortable in your own skin. May your heart feel a little lighter knowing that change is possible, and thank you for listening until the end today.